All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at an additional factoring problem here. As with any factoring problem, the first step that you always want to do is to pull out a greatest common factor if there is one. And in this case, we can see that each term here has a 5. So I'm going to factor out that 5 to begin with. So you have 5 times x cubed minus x squared y minus xy squared plus y cubed. Okay, now you see that you are left with 4 terms on the inside of the parentheses. What I'd like to try and do when I'm at this point is to do factoring by grouping. So I'm going to leave that 5 way on the outside, and I'm going to put in a bracket and make my 2 groups. So I have x cubed minus x squared y. That'll be my first group. Now notice here that you have to watch your signs. So if I have a negative on the outside, then on the inside this is x y squared minus y cubed. It has to be that way so that if you were to multiply this back through, you would get the positive that you had here. So that's my reason for changing the signs there. Okay, now let's go ahead and pull out the greatest common factor from each of these 2 groups. So again, my 5 just stays way on the outside. Okay, out of this first group, I can see that I have an x squared term that I can pull out. So I'm going to pull out an x squared, and then what's left is an x minus y. Okay. Out of my next group, I can see that I have a y squared that I can factor out. So I'm going to do that. And I'm left with x minus y. Okay. Now, if you think about pulling out the greatest common factor again, you can see that in the inside, each of these 2 terms now has an x minus y. So I'm going to pull that out and then multiply by what's left. So we have 5 times x minus y times x squared minus y squared. When you get to this point, hopefully you will recognize that right here you have a difference of squares. So I can continue to factor that by using the formula here. So I have 5 times x minus y, x squared minus y squared. Okay, difference of squares. I know that the formula is a squared minus b squared equals a plus b times a minus b. Okay. So in this case, wherever you see, and we're only talking about this right here, but wherever you see an A, you'll put an X, and wherever you see a B, you'll put a Y. Okay, so if we substitute that back in, then I have 5 times X minus Y, and then we have an X plus Y, x minus y. Okay. This is where my difference of squares came in. And then my last step is, because I have 2 of these x minus y terms that are being multiplied, I can simplify by writing x minus y all squared times x plus y. And that will be your final answer. Okay, and I will be working on additional videos, and certainly if you have any problems that you would like me to work through, don't hesitate to ask.